Hi there. For those of you that are seeing this for the very first time, my name is Lisa, and I'm mom to a very amazing young man who happens to be on the autism spectrum. He's 23 years old, and just recently we have decided to try overnight respite. As a family that has a son that will more than likely need lifelong care, we know that we might not always be there for him. We might not always be able to care for him. And it's important for us to transition him ever so slowly to another home if that need ever arises. So I'd like to talk about how it went, how we went about finding the home that we decided to try, and ultimately how Cody did on his first overnight stay. So finding the right home is difficult at best. Cody needs a lot of support. He is unable to bathe himself on his own. These are things that we're working on, but I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know that he's ever going to master some of these things, and I don't honestly know why. He's able to do so much, make his bed, get dressed, load the dishwasher, unload it, wipe down tables, fold clothes, hang up clothes, take his sheets off. But when it comes to bathing himself, there's a disconnect. So we provide that service for him. We provide that support for him. And, you know, when you have an adult that is actually diagnosed with nonverbal autism, like Cody, he does have many words, but he still has a difficult time articulating some things. And there's always a question whether he understands good touch, bad touch. So when I first started touring homes, I was looking for a home that had all male residents, and I wanted them to be around the same age as Cody. That was important to me because, and I really wanted them to be on the autism spectrum or similar to Cody's types of different abilities. That was very important to me. And like day programs, group homes that offer respite are very hard to find. Most of them are placement, full-time. So we're just looking for overnight respite, like 3 weekends a month, 2 weekends a month, something like that, 2-night stay. And it was very taxing. I finally found a home. I toured it. My mom went with me. Scott was able to come, so he was able to actually see it firsthand. And we also took Cody. I thought that was very important for them to be able to meet Cody, see him, and then ultimately, when all the paperwork was done, I could have a conversation with Cody, letting him know that the house that we went to is going to be the house that he's going to be staying in for one night, and he's going to meet new friends and do fun things. And so we did that, and it went really well. I was able to meet some of the staff. The only downside, at that time was, they have staff 24/7. And so not all the staff is going to be there. And I was unable to meet everyone. And, their policies are that of if you have something you'd like to talk to the staff about, there's a protocol to follow. And so it's not like I'm going to be able to exchange phone numbers with staff, or they're going to be able to actually talk to me one-on-one, which is hard. It is hard. But that's the protocol. So, we saw the room that he's going to be staying at. We were able to view the home, and they had cameras and they had an alarm. It was a 2-story. So I was able to view the backyard. They had a pool, but it had a fence around it, and the back door is locked at all times. They're not allowed to go in the backyard without staff. They do have, like I said, 24/7 staff at all times. 1 staff at least, sometimes 2. And I thought that was great. There are 3 other boys that are current residents in the home full-time. And Cody is the only part-time overnight respite. And they all are on the spectrum, and they're all within a few years of Cody, which, it checked all the boxes. It really did. And the family that actually run the home, they are touched by autism as well, which gives me I feel like they understand our family more. And that just helped me so much. It really did, in making the final decision on saying, yes, let's try this home. So we spent a great deal of time talking with her and giving her all the information about what Cody needs, what he is lacking in as far as independence, and the areas that he really needs more support in. So we talked about that, and we talked about the fact that they were going to go on an outing on Sunday, and what are some of the protocols that they have in place for safety and all of that stuff. So a lot of discussions, and I liked that they had home-cooked meals, at least for dinner, for sure. They had a menu up, and that was very appealing, and I really loved that. And they do sit down and have their meals together. If everyone is there, they all have their meals together. And that was a big deal for me. My son tends to not mind eating alone. And sometimes he doesn't always come to the table. We're working on that. And I want him to learn to coexist with people just like himself. It's very important. So some of the difficulties that we as a family struggle with when we let go of the reins, so to speak, one for sure is bathing. I have had a few conversations with Cody about bad touch, good touch, but do I really know for sure if he understands? No. I don't know that he would actually know if he was being touched inappropriately. And people with disabilities are very, very vulnerable to sexual predators and being abused. So it is really something that is hard for me. We've never let anyone bathe him. It's only been me or my husband or his brother Justin. So it's definitely a hard pill to swallow and something that we're definitely working on. And I mean, it needs to happen. So I'd like to now go into the benefits of overnight respite. You know, we've come to the time in our life that we would like to spend more time together, my husband and I. And the only way to really do that is to utilize overnight respite. We have had respite workers in the past for a few hours, maybe 5 hours at best for one day on the weekend. But in order to really get away mentally when you're living this life, because it's a life filled with 24/7 what ifs and always having to be on call and, you know, sometimes waiting for the other shoe to drop for behaviors. So on my bucket list, let's just call it that, on my bucket list of life, I want to spend more time with my husband. I don't want to look back one day and say, I wish we had spent more time together. So that's why we're doing it. And we had a great time. We missed him very much. We worried about him. We wondered if he was having a good time. Was he scared? All the things, all the normal things, right? Each time I know we'll get better. And I want to just talk about how important it is to spend time together alone. We are not blessed with having a family member or a super close friend available who would like to care for Cody if we cannot care for him one day. It's just a fact. And so we need to think about that. We need to work on it so that when the time comes, if the time does come, he's not ripped out of his home and stuck in a home that he's not familiar with. We have time, we have plenty of time to make the transition and to make sure that he's happy and all of his needs are met. So that's why we're doing it. For quite a few reasons, I guess. Spend more time together, and then, you know, if we can't care for him, then we have people that we trust. So Cody had a good time, I think. I mean, I asked him, he didn't really answer me. He was ready to go home when we picked him up. He was all ready. There were a few issues that we had to discuss. I'm very hopeful that a few of the things that we brought to their attention are going to be rectified, and that way everyone's needs are met. I mean, Cody, some of his needs weren't met, so that's all I'm going to say about it. But they were very open to listening to me and my concerns, and the fact that, you know, I'd like certain things changed. And so that means to me that they are open to criticism and willing to work with us. So that was important. I had mentioned to him, I had asked Cody if he wanted to go back. A couple of times he said no. Then he said yes. So I will ask him again, but we are planning on trying it again this weekend for just one more night. And then hopefully we will work up to 2 nights. So it's something that I'm very excited to spend some extra time with my husband. We oftentimes, switch off caring for Cody. I will go out and maybe meet a friend or maybe go shopping. He'll stay home, and then vice versa. Or he'll go out and do something. It's just, and when we get time together, it's not very often, and it's not for very long. And we're constantly checking our phones, and we're not really able to completely unplug. So with time, I know that we're going to be able to. We're going to just be relaxed and enjoying each other. And also a benefit of having overnight respite somewhere else is the fact that we don't have to leave our home. We like being here. We like working in the yard. We like sitting in our pool together, on the patio. So that's another benefit. To always have to go somewhere when you have respite is not only exhausting and expensive, but it doesn't always work out. Like you're trying to, well, let's see if we can catch a movie. And then you're like, well, we need to eat. Well, can we fit it all in? And you're constantly, going from one thing to the next. So you're not always able to make those things, make those timelines. So I hope that helps you. I hope that answers any questions that you might have about our overnight respite. Thanks for listening.